the Palace of Speed. Early on in this race. Road America, what a track. It's a motorsport road course located near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, United States on Wisconsin Highway 67. It has hosted races since the 1950s and currently hosts races in the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, IndyCar Series, SCCA Pirelli World Challenge, ASRA, AMA Superbike Series, and SCCA Pro Racing's Trans Am Series. This track, probably one of the most famous and illustrious road courses in America. 4 miles of pure Wisconsin back roads. And we're here for race 10 of season 10 of the Spec-5 World Tour. My name is Alex Andersen. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Randall McGrew with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck. And Randall, what can you say about Road America, one of the greatest racetracks in the country?
I can't think of a better venue for a championship finale, especially with a championship like this in both the Pro and the Open, with multiple cars able to win it. This is the best venue you could have for a showdown.
Most certainly it is. And real fast, before qualifying gets underway, we're going to go over the points. This is for the Pro standings. Just look at that top 4. Rui Coimbra leads, then Ronnie Coates back by 1 point, then Mitchell Peak back by 1 point, then Joshua Soto back by 1 point. The top 3 separated by the top 4 separated by 3 points. Then quite a ways behind him is Lee Martin there in 5th, and Otis Adams Jr., Tom Rathje, Brian Zabelski, Greg Mack, Jedediah Babinek, David Staub, Michael Coates, Eugenio Polici, Jordy Fike, Scott Keane, Kenneth Staub, Sean Ruiz, and Simon Foweather. And behind them, you got Camden Hibbett, Zach Burke, Gareth Brocklesby, and Mark McCormack there in 22nd with only 97 points. And Randall, if you would like to take us to our open classes, it's just as close here.
Sean Hayes has watched his lead evaporate over the past 2 weeks after 2 wins by Ray Lombardi. now only has a 5-point lead going into the final race over Ray. Josh Olson, still with a chance to win the championship tonight, is back with 355, only 12 points off of Sean Hayes. Andrew Kosick in 4th, Paulo Coimbra in 5th, Bruce Silva in 6th, John Casey in 7th, Greg Brockway in 8th, Charles Vaccaro in 9th, Tom Athon in 10th, Stephen Helliwell in 11th, Zach Gadberry in 12th, Ethan Stanley in P13, Jerry Piero in P14, Jose Gonzalez in 15th, Ashley Lyle in 16th, Edgar Sancinelli in 17th, Adam Prinz in 18th, Paul Mikolajczyk in 19th, David Tamir in 20th, and Kerry Stab in 21st.
And just so close between all of the point standings. Here's the pro once again, just to really drive the point across with how close these standings are. Literally anything could happen. I mean, we saw Watkins Glen. I mean, the entire top 4 in the championship standings just took each other out coming out of the S's. Tom Rathje won that race. So, I mean, anything could happen between those 4. They've been the most dominant drivers this season, and it's a deserving championship battle for them. But qualifying well underway now. Here's Kenneth Staub. I believe he's heading through turn number 1, heading to turn number 2 right now. It's a very long and draft-heavy track, Road America, as you're going to see when Kenneth gets to this second straight. Here's Jose Gonzalez. We'll go onboard on him, and you can just see just how long this straight is. It goes a ways back behind him, too. You'll see what happens when he comes out of the final corner for that, but he's going to break into the first corner, down into third gear, just try and keep it nice and smooth. Gonzalez does a good job right there, just keeping the car nice and straight, not getting it sideways at all. And he's going to break into turn number 2, I believe should be second gear for these cars. Just gets a nice flicked into the corner, doesn't have to turn too much, bit of oversteer on the exit there. And now you'll see where the length of these straightaways starts to come in, as he's going to head down the Moraine Sweep onto the Sargento Bridge, and just really straights, they go on and they go on and they go on. And these guys, they're going to have a lot of drafting opportunities to pass each other, and that's where the championship battles in both the pro and open class are really going to start to heat up, is down these straightaways. Jose's going to get it nice and turned well into turn number 3. He's going to bring it up onto the Corvette Bridge. Bit of an uphill climb into turn 4. It's a blind corner. Flicks the car in nicely. Gets it well onto the exit curb. And now through, I believe, turn number 5. It's a full throttle corner for these cars. Not full throttle for everything, though. Now he's going to head into what I believe is known as hurry downs.
You can see he takes a lot of the curb there at the apex. You can really abuse that curb and run the car wide. And then you want to keep your foot planted as long as you can here through the big sweeper. Going to let it coast out a little bit. You hear he's feathering the throttle, waiting for the front end to load up. And then as it starts to point towards the apex, all the way back down on the throttle, run the car all the way out to the exit curbing and keep it to the left for the kink. Easily flat out in these cars. Just need to make sure you don't have too much oversteer. You heard a little bit of a confidence lift there. Probably still dealing with some cold tires. Coming down through the notch straightaway towards Canada Corner. Going to set up on the left-hand side of the track for a big braking zone and a great passing opportunity, especially late in the race. Down to second gear. Runs just a little bit wide of the apex curbing, but you want to use all of that exit curbing as you come off the corner to really maximize your speed. Going to give it a pretty early turn in and flick here. Through the penultimate corner, you want to touch that apex curbing just a little bit, and then you're going to apex just a little bit early here than you normally, more early than you would normally think, because you get a little bit extra of that exit curbing to help you make up for it. You get to the throttle just a little bit earlier. That's the most important corner on the lap because you have the longest straightaway ahead of you. You want to get that throttle down early to maximize your time.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of these moves are going to start to be made. Jose Gonzalez goes P19 there with that lap at 2:36. Cameron Hibbett up to P2 with a 2:34. Sean Hayes gets a really nice early start in qualifying there with a 2:35. And Josh Olson's going to be a little bit of a ways behind him. There's Cameron Hibbett. Here's Sean Hayes now heading through turn number 1 on his second lap. He's going to head down into turn number 2. Here's Joshua Soto, one of our championship competitors, currently on provisional pole. The next three championship competitors are in 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're led by Ronnie Coates, then Mitchell Peak there in 5th, and Rui Coimbra in 6th. Though, if these guys want to just make it an easier fight for them, they gotta they got to set down some flyer lap times to catch up to Soto fast.
And right now they're running an inverse order of their points position. So there are a few permutations that allow for a 4-way tie. I doubt we'll see one of those come into play tonight. Normally, I would say that qualifying isn't as important here because you get a lot of chance to slipstream and get your way up through the field and save fuel. But there's a bonus point for qualifying on the pole. So the top 4 really need to set down a fast lap to try to go for that pole to get that bonus point to really help them win that championship.
Yeah, and that's really what it's going to come down to. These guys got to keep track of the bonus points. And another thing that's going to really come into play is Soto looks like going to stop in Canada corner, realizes he's made a mistake. Another thing that's going to come into play here is the pit stops. If one of the 4 championship competitors in the pro class and even in the open class, if Josh Olson and Sean Hayes are right on each other, if one of them has a bad pit stop, it's basically going to be the end of their day. They're not going to be able to recover from that unless pretty much everybody in front of them makes some major mistake.
Well, I think we've all learned my pit strategy here is wrong, so I'm just going to follow Ronnie Coates. When Ronnie pits, I pit. That's probably your best bet. He seems to be the one out of those 4 that has the pit strategy the most figured out every week.
Yeah, we know we've seen the gaps Ronnie can pull on these pit stops. It's honestly incredible what he can do. But another person that has been discontinuing my train of thought, Mitchell Peak gets provisional pole there by about 0.06 of a second there over Soto at 2:34.6. Here's Ronnie Coates starting another lap. Looks like he didn't improve on his last time. He'll be looking to do that here as he heads through turn number 2 and towards the Moraine sweep. And looks like he's going to stop this lap time. So Randall, I got a question, and I'm wondering, like, if you're Rui Coimbra back here, if you can't improve this lap for qualifying, we know Rui hasn't always been the greatest in qualifying. If he can't improve this lap, what is it going to take for him to get back up towards the leaders?
Well, he's going to have to be aggressive early, use the slipstream to his advantage, and also try to save fuel if he thinks he can't quite get up to them on speed alone. We've also seen him be really fast in the races, so I have no doubt that he'll be able to work his way up to the front if he finds himself starting back here in 10th. I suspect he has another cat to pull out of the bag to set a fast lap here in the closing stages of the qualifying. We've seen the other drivers reset for fresh tires, and maybe he's thinking if he just stays out there on hot tires that he can get a better lap in.
It's definitely a good strategy to try and stick it out on those old tires, but with just new, and with the length of this track, you look at the track map up there. It's a very long track for these guys to navigate. About just 4 miles. 4 miles that these guys have to traverse. They get it in on a good lap about 2 minutes and 34 seconds. So it takes them a while to get around here. And the tires, especially in some of the high-speed corners on this track, like the carousel and the corner after it, and also the second to last corner you can see on the track map. Tires can wear out pretty heavily over just the course of 1 lap for these cars. So I don't know what Rui can do here on these older tires. We'll have to see what happens when he gets back to the front to the start-finish line as he heads into hurry bottoms now, or hurry downs.
You'll see on the timing tower we are listing the driver's current off tracks. And normally we don't show this, but it is quite important this week as there is a bonus to be gained. If you get 0x in a race, you get 3 bonus points. So if you're in that championship 4 and you're able to run a 0x race, which is going to be exceedingly difficult to do when you're fighting for everything in a winner takes all kind of style, it'll be very hard to get a 0x. You get 3 points. That is a huge advantage. That's like finishing 3 spots ahead of where you actually finish. If you get 1x or 2x, you still get 1 bonus point. So if you have a pretty clean race, you can still get a bonus point. And I think this race is really going to come down to the bonus points. The championship is going to come down to bonus points. We've been talking about it all season. We're really going to have to keep an eye on who leads laps and who leads the most laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And just bonus points, that's what's going to really help these guys, bonus points. So I reckon we've seen the leaders in previous races. They don't really race each other all too often. They kind of just chill out, mind their own business, and wait for the last couple of minutes to start really fighting for it. But in this race, when bonus points are really what you're really looking for if you're a championship competitor, These guys are going to really start to fight each other as hard as they can to try and get those bonus points to give them a better shot at the end of the day. Rui Coimbra not improving on that lap. I think he'll have this lap, and then that'll be his only shot. Here's Joshua Soto heading down the back straight, trying to best Mitchell Peak. He'll head into Canada corner now, just trying to get a nice consistent line down this winding back straightaway. Not on the brakes, he'll go down into second gear in this 135 car. And he'll bring it through the final couple of corners. It looks like yellow in 3 sectors, only green in one of them, so we'll have to see what he can do across the line. Not sure if he'll be able to catch up to Mitchell Peak with the way that lap's going. Another yellow sector for him down there. You see that. Out of the final corner, here's Zach Burke. He's been doing pretty well for himself in recent weeks. He got a pretty decent result at Watkins Glen, now currently sitting in P4 so far. And, I mean, just what can you do if you're Zach here? Like, do you want to race to interfere? I mean, if you race the leaders, you're knowingly... Oh, actually, Joshua Soto, excuse me, just took fastest lap now by almost a tenth of a second, just over 700s there with a 2:34.5. We'll see if Mitchell Peak can bring it through the final couple of corners to best him once more.
As you were saying, if you're Zach Burke, do you want to get involved in this championship fight? I don't know if the league managers have told them, hey, try to stay clear of these guys. But I suspect that they're saying, no, it's everybody's race. Everybody is racing for the same thing. If I'm Zach Burke, I don't care what position you're in. I'm trying to get ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Mitchell Peak, it looked like pulled in the pits on that lap. So not trying to improve on it, just gave up on that lap. And here's Rui Coimbra. This will be his final shot. Otis Adams Jr. goes up to 7th just then. This will be Rui Coimbra's last shot on improving his lap time. If he wants to get, a better position, he's currently sitting at 11th. That would be an abysmal starting position, especially being a championship competitor in that number 78 car. We know Rui hasn't been the strongest in qualifying all season, but really, especially for the championship race, it's going to be it's going to be needed for him to just try and fight these guys. Speaking of which, all the other championship competitors, 1, 2, 3, with Ronnie Coates making up the final car in that, going up to P3. But here's Rui up the final hill. We'll see what he can do across the line. I'm not sure if it's an improved lap for him. No, it was. So he moves himself up to P7, but that is where he's going to stay for now. And just Rui, I mean, not the best starting position. He's got 3 cars separating himself and his championship competitors there in the number 78 car, so definitely could have been a better quali for him.
P7's not too bad, though. That's only the 4th row. That's better than the 5th or 6th row that he was looking at. So he's not too far away real estate-wise from his 3 championship rivals, and we know that they're going to be fighting. So he's going to have plenty of opportunity to make his way up to at least 4th and to join that fight. I expect we'll see him there in 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, definitely, but it's not going to be an easy fight up there, especially when drivers like Camden Hibbett and Zach Burke and Scott Keane, they might be looking to spoil a party and try and get their first win. But here's your starting grid for tonight. Joshua Soto takes pole by just under a tenth there over Mitchell Peak there in 2nd. Ronnie Coates back there in P3. Camden Hibbett in 4th. Zach Burke in 5th. Scott Keane in 6th. Rui Coimbra in 7th, Otis Adams Jr. in 8th, Nicky Borovic in 9th, Eugenio Polici in 10th, Jedediah Babinek in 11th, Sean Hayes takes pole for the open class there in 12th, Michael Coates there in 13th, David Staub in 14th, Ray Lombardi there holding on to P15, only 2 spots behind Sean Hayes, Lee Martin there in P16, Brian Zabelski in 17th, Kenneth Staub in 18th, Jose Gonzalez in 19th, Greg Mack in 20th, Sean Ruiz in 21st, Paulo Coimbra in 22nd, Ethan Stanley there in 23rd, Josh Olson there in 24th. He needs a really good showing for this race. He needs to step it up during the race if he wants to get back up to Sean Hayes and fight him. He needs to get 5 points to win the championship over Hayes. Andrew Kosick is there in 25th, Edgar Sancinelli in 26th, Ashley Lyle in 27th, Bruce Silva in 28th, Zach Gadberry in 29th, John Casey in 30th, and Greg Brockway rounds out your 31 car field tonight there in 31st. And Randall, just look at these points. I mean, we can't emphasize this enough how close the points are.
It's really, there's no way to predict who's going to come out on top with this. This is going to be a wild race. I expect to see a lot of elbows out and Teammates, they don't exist. Friends, they don't exist. They're racing for all the marbles now. Sean Hayes just needs to put together a nice, good race. And if he finishes ahead of Lombardi and Olsen, it's definitely a lock. But as long as he finishes in 24th place or higher and no more than 5 places behind Lombardi or 12 places behind Olsen, he wins the championship in the open division.
Yeah, but not going to be an easy fight for him at all. The cars are going to start to roll off the grid now. It's going to be a full pace lap for these guys, so they're going to get a nice tour of the 4-mile circuit. And just, Randall, just any predictions for here tonight? I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to put my money on Joshua Soda. You know, he's been very inconsistent at times throughout the season, but overall, one of, if not the fastest throughout the entire series this season. I'm putting my money on him to win this race. What about you?
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot to make me predict something here. We have not seen Ronnie Coates win but one time, and same with Mitchell Peak. So maybe one of those guys are due for another win. I know Mitchell won the race last week. But my prediction is we're going to see some tumbleweed blowing across the back straight here as they take the pace lap. We're going to have to see a gunfight.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's just such a close battle. I mean, 9 races of just pure, intense gunfighting action, and it all comes down to this. And just, what a special place to do it, too. I mean, Road America, we're going to get an insane race out of this place. I mean, especially just look at these straights. I mean, I know they're on pace speed right now, so they don't really look like they're going fast at all, because they aren't. They're only going about 45, 50 miles an hour right now, but just, it's going to be such a long and dreadful race, especially down these straights with the drafting opportunities. Like, if you're coming down the back straight on the white flag, you know you have a very slim shot of taking it home if you're leading down that back straightaway, because everybody's just going to get a massive draft run and just fly around you.
It's going to be a very high-speed chess match. I can't even predict what I would do ahead of time if I were in the position of one of these drivers. This is going to be a very by-the-seat-of-your-pants race when it comes to strategy. And, yeah, it's too close to call. And I think we're going to have we're probably going to have to wait for an official word on the actual champion. It's going to be that close at the finish.
Yeah, most certainly. And I mean, we've seen close finishes in this series before. I mean, Sebring this year. What was the other track? Monza this year. Both of those races, 3 wide across the line. The cars separated by under 200ths there. And I mean, it's just absolutely insane to watch these guys race each other. And they're going to go to war for the final time in Season 10. We can only hope to look forward to what's going to happen in Season 11 for this series. But absolutely been a special season, most certainly a season to remember, not only for us up here, but probably for a lot of these drivers as well. I mean, I haven't seen the other 9 seasons of this series, but this has just been an absolutely insane one to watch. And
racing gods forbid we have another incident like we had at Watkins Glen. We may actually see some drivers jump out of their cars and do a foot race, Ricky Bobby style, to the finishing line to see who's going to win that championship.
Yeah, definitely. And as the field gets 2x2 for the last time, I got to make this one of my best race start intros ever. I mean, it's the final one of the season, and for 2 insane championship battles that are going to go on, I got to hype myself up for this one. But these guys, they're going to come through the final couple of corners. Soto, Peak, Coates, Hibbett, Burke, Keene, Adams, Coimbra, Borovic, Polici, Babinec, all of these guys are well within a shot of the win. However, only 4 of them are competing for the title. Only one of them can win the title. And for the last time this season, the iRacing safety car is going to dive into the safety of the pit lane, and now it is all up to the drivers as they head up the hill to await the green flag for the final time this season. And the green flag is out, and we are racing at Road America. Soto, the pretty good start. Peak getting a good push from Cameron Hibbett there. It looks like Peak will just start to ever so slightly get that gap down the front straightaway. Soto is going to need Coates to get on his back bumper and push him down this front straightaway to maintain this lead. Side by side going into turn number 1. Looks like they're going to maintain it even between the short chute for 1 and 2. Still even. Pete gets his nose out front as they get to turn 2 onto the brakes. And it looks like still dead even through the corner. They're going to stay side by side down the back straightaway. It looks like Coates has cleared everybody else. The 3 cars fighting for the championship battle are now in a race of their own as Rui Coimbra is trying to catch up to the field. He's got himself back up to 6th now. Soto getting his nose out in front as they head towards the Moraine sweep.
They've been pretty clean so far. They've been staying side by side. We'll see if they stay that way coming through turn 5. They do. Soto runs a little bit wide. He's going to pick up an off track for sure there. That's going to eliminate his chances for 3 bonus points. And Mitchell Peak is going to have the advantage going into turn 6. Can he make it stick? Josh Soto stays alongside of him, though.
Yeah, and they've been side by side for this entire lap. And just everybody just watching on back there. Coates is just wondering who to push. He's currently side by side with Zach Burke, though. Mitchell Peak going to finally clear Joshua Soto for the first time tonight. And it looks like everybody's still tamed to the field throughout the most part. Or for the most part, everybody single file just trying to keep it clean on the first lap of this race. And it looks like, they're all just chilling out. Zach Burke breaks into the top 3 there, breaks the 3-car championship contender run. And down to the back straightaway for the first time tonight, Rui Coimbra up to P6, still stuck behind Camden Hibbett, but I reckon only 2 minutes into this race, he has a lot more time to get around these guys.
He's got all the time in the world. He's going to be patient here. As long as they keep in contact, he knows that they're going to be fighting up front, as they already are. They're going to be fighting to see who leads this first lap. Looks like Mitchell Peak has the advantage, but Don't look now. Here comes Josh Soto, going to take it on the inside through the penultimate corner, going to give Mitchell Peak the inside for the final corner. It's going to be a drag race for lap 1.
Yeah, and this is why these guys are fighting. They need to get those bonus points on each other. It looks like Soto's going to get it unless he gets a really good push from... unless Mitchell Peak gets a really good push from Zach Burke here. However, Joshua Soto, it looks like just barely is going to lead lap 1, getting him a bonus point so far. And here comes Ronnie Coates giving him a push down the front straightaway. And these guys 2 by 2. This looks like a restrictor plate race in an oval series right now. Side by side into turn number 1 again. It looks like the start of the race, just the leaders are swapped. Here's Joshua Soto trying to get that run off the high side right now. Currently clear of Mitchell Peak. He's going to give him the room into turn number 2. Soto going to clear Mitchell Peak now as they head down the back straightaway.
But he's not going to be able to sit there comfortably, because I can guarantee you there's going to be a pass attempt made, or somebody's going to at least show their nose. You can see he's already moving to the left-hand side of the track to set up a defensive line. But now he's sweeping back to the right. Mitchell Peak's looking left. He's going to show his nose. Is he going to make a move?
We'll have to see as they head down the Moraine sweep. Looks like Coates is trying to make a move there, but Joshua Soto is still going to maintain the lead of this race. Rui Coimbra is still watching on back there. Somebody just got forced into the grass. Everybody is all over the place. Oh, there's a wreck back there. Sean Hayes is around. Olsen needs to get around him, and he will. Sean Hayes around. That is going to completely change the complexity of the open classes. Now Sean Hayes 7 spots behind Josh Olsen. Currently, Olsen has the title locked up. We have to see what Sean Hayes can do to recover now. It looked like everybody was just dive bombing it into that corner. They were clean for the most part here. Then Hayes turned back across the track. The 36 and the 94 made a Jedediah Babinek sandwich there out of turn number 3. And just spun them both around. It looked like the 36, I want to say the 36 was, I'm not sure who it was there, Randall.
That's David Stab. And now, what Sean needs to do is get that car going again, assess the damage, try to make it to the pit window before taking any sort of repairs. He still has a chance to come back and get this if he gets back to 24th and can close the gap on Lombardi and Olsen, and he still has a chance to win.
Yeah, and here's the open class points. These aren't live right now. These are before this race, and currently... Oh, excuse me, Ray Lombardi was I thought it was Josh Olsen all along. Wow. But Ray Lombardi currently has clinched the championship title there in the 046-112 car by a lot. over Sean Hayes. So I don't know what Hayes can really do to try and close this gap. Currently, Ray has it locked up, but here's the open class driver, or here's the pro class drivers racing for it once again. Soto gonna lead the second lap here tonight as they start lap 3. Mitchell Peak gonna push Soto down this front straightaway as Coates tries to make a move around the outside. Rui Coimbra falling back a little bit. He needs to start making some moves to get back up here and fight with these guys because he's gonna need those bonus points, especially as I believe you get 1 bonus point for leading a lap, you get 1 for the least amount of X's, and I believe, Randall, do you get 1 for leading the most laps? I'm not quite sure.
That's right. You get 1 for leading a lap and leading the most laps. So every lap that Josh Soto can lead is getting him closer to leading the most laps. And more importantly, it's denying a lap from one of his competitors. He's the only one to lead any laps so far.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's what these guys are going to have to look out for. Soto has a 2-lap lead for that right now. Side by side into turn number 3. Big wiggles from both cars. Mitchell Peak sends Coates around. Mitchell Peak going to have to come to a stop as well. This is going to leave it between Joshua Soto and Rui Coimbra now, as I can't believe what I just saw.
Yeah, that's very tough. Very bad luck for Ronnie Coates. Mitchell Peak pushing really hard. Clearly not intentional. It looked like they may have started to come together in front of him, and he was probably had his eyes as big as saucers trying to look for an incident that didn't ever happen, and then just missed his brake mark possibly. Definite heartbreak for Coates and Peak. Not completely out of this. The other two could still have an incident. You can see here we have the 135 and the 31. Looked like they almost come together. Probably distracted him, missed his brake mark just a little bit, and possibly Coates had to slow down just a little bit more to avoid an incident. They get together, and Mitchell did stop to wait. So doing the sporting thing and didn't just rejoin. If Olsen and Coimbra both have an incident, they can still be in this. So they need to keep going. We saw it at Watkins Glen. You never give up.
Yeah,
we saw Zach Burke there just hit the grass. I mean, he could have easily taken out Josh Olsen there. So anything can still happen.
I think you mean Joshua Soto leading the race there.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
And actually, I just realized this, but Ethan Stanley currently leads the open class, up 13 spots there over Ray Lombardi. He can see in the background behind Lee Martin, who's currently separating these two. It's Stanley doing a good job in his, I believe, I think it's his 4th race ever in this series. He won the race at Watkins Glen and looking to maybe do it again here in the final race of the season.
It could very well be possible. He's in a good position to have a much better result here. He can even make up a few spots to make his way towards the top 5 overall.
Yeah, if he gets a good run here, that might just be possible. Here's Ashley Lyle, another driver new to the series, hasn't run at much races, currently hanging out there in P23. She's doing a pretty good job just running some consistent laps. 3 off tracks for her, but she's still doing a decent job there. In the number 96 car, trying to chase down Edgar Sancinelli in front of her. She still has the draft on him. And I think Soto just got flat out passed by Zach Burke and Camden Hibbett there down the front straightaway with how long it is.
That would be my guess. I don't see him having an off track, though. I called one earlier. I must have been mistaken. Track limits there are pretty wide at the exit of turn 5. He's going to get P2 back, but he's trying to put some space between him and Rui. He needs to have a pretty good finish here with a bit more cushion to Rui Coimbra to have a chance to win the championship.
Yeah, he's just going to need to try all they can. And I mean, what needs to happen? I would say Soto is the car furthest behind Rui Coimbra here. So I would think for Soto to win the championship. Oh, a big move there on Zach Burke. I thought they almost hit each other. Cameron and Hibbett going to decide to push Zach here through the carousel. This is going to cost Soto to lose both of these spots now, as he's going to have to settle for a third. A big move from Soto there.
I don't see any damage on the car, but it's hard to tell if they made any contact or not. If he picked up a 4X incident off that will ruin his chance for the 3-point bonus for having a 0X race. He's really wanting to get up there to lead laps to make sure that he gets that extra bonus point. If he gets the bonus point for leading a lap and leading the most laps, and he can prevent Rui from leading a lap, he can win the championship with a win and Rui Coimbra in 3rd place or further back.
Yeah, Mitchell Peak, unfortunate end to his season. He's out of the race. It looks like just It looks like he connected back to the server, so he disconnected from the server at one point, but he's loading back in right now, but unfortunate for him to have his season end that way. Ronnie Coates, same thing, down 25 spots from where he started there, just hanging out in 28th, just trying all he can, but I know we never want to say in this series, we know that never say never, but I mean, it's hard not to say never when you're down that far.
It's going to be nearly impossible for Ronnie Coates to come back, but anything could still happen. That incident did help out our open class leader a little bit, Sean Hayes. He's up to the minimum where he needs to be 24th or higher, but he still needs make up a lot of spaces. He needs to get up to at least 16th place if Ray Lombardi finishes where he's running now.
Here's a gaggle of cars that just went 3 wide to turn number 1. This group is led by Otis Adams Jr., then it's Scott Keane and Michael Coates with Ethan Stanley. They're the leader of the open class, and pretty much a big pack between everybody down here. There's the Lee Martin behind him as well, and Ray Lombardi also. And you got just the normal run-of-the-mill guys. You got Sean Ruiz, Jedediah Babbitt, Kenneth Staub all in this pack. Pretty much everybody from 7th through to 23rd is hanging out in this pack right now. So, I mean, this is the breakaway between there's the first 4 cars. There's the leaders, Zach Burke, Soto, Hibbett, and Coimbra. Then it's Borovic. We haven't seen him race too often. Just kind of all on an island right there. 2.2 seconds back from the leaders. Then comes Otis Adams and this entire pack behind him. So it's pretty much a breakaway and a half, and then an entire full pack of Miatas.
And it's really surprising that the incident that took out Sean Hayes or put Sean Hayes down towards the tail end of the field didn't break up this group more. They did actually a really good job of keeping it together. So it's pretty surprising to see this train. It did make the gap to the leaders quite big, but this train has stayed together pretty well. So we can see a lot of people making up some positions, especially with pit strategy.
Joshua Soto with a 1X there. This is going to put him behind Rui Coimbra for the Mr. Clean point there. And Soto is just going to have to pray to God that Rui Coimbra gets an off track here, but Soto is going to go to the outside now down this straightaway. He'll have the inside into Canada corner trying to get another lap lead in the 135 car. He needs to get these laps led to get more bonus points over Rui Coimbra. He just needs to prevent Rui from ever leading a lap. The only thing is with pit stops only about 10 minutes up the road, a strategy that might be valuable for Rui is to stay out one extra lap to get that lap lead bonus point over the rest of these guys, and get that extra bonus point to make Soto's job just a little bit harder. The only thing is Soto could predict that and end up staying out with him, and then what do you do from there?
That's really only Ronnie Coates' only chance at a free point is if Soto pits before the pit window closes, and if you're Rui, you're definitely going to stay out there another lap. That'll also give you an advantage with having a one more in lap with lower fuel on warm tires. You might be able to set a really fast one, but ultimately you're just looking to lead that lap.
I can't be the only one who just saw Soto do that. Got his right rear in the gravel. Doesn't look like an off track, but that's going to hurt him a lot. Is Zach Burke going to retake the lead? Now he's side by side with Camden Hibbett down the back straightaway.
He's set up now for a good slipstream down the back straightaway. Maybe going to try to set up a move on Zach Burke again, either in turn 5 or later in the lap going into Canada corner like we saw last lap. But right now, he has 3 or 4 laps led, so he's sitting pretty with the lap lead. As long as he can prevent Rui, you may even see him back up to Rui's front bumper and just become a blocker and prevent Rui from getting a lap lead.
Most certainly an option. Here's the battle for the open class lead. Stanley leads Ray Lombardi right now. 1-2 for these guys. Jose Gonzalez.
Dave Staub.
Somebody just went around back there. That was David Staub. He collects Brian Zabelski. Oh, no, that was Kenneth Staub.
Kenneth Staub.
Collects Brian Zabelski. And that's the second incident we've seen coming out of turn 3 there. Almost caught up an open class competitor, and Jose Gonzalez just looked like the 8 car. Sent it in there way too hard. Kenneth couldn't prevent it from going around. Slams right back up the track into Brian Zabelski.
That's really unfortunate. The 8 car is definitely going to have to visit with the stewards after the race for that move. And it took out 2 competitors, and I'm sure Kenny Stabb feels pretty bad for having hit another driver, but he was pretty much a passenger at that point.
Yeah, nothing really he can do except keep the wheel locked to the right and pray. We'll see if Joshua Soto makes another move for the lead to try and get this lap lead. he'll certainly have a shot as they head into Canada corner. However, Camden Hibbett going to beat him to the punch into Canada corner. Side by side through here, it looks like they're still side by side. Soto going to give Camden Hibbett the position. This puts the championship contenders right on top of each other now, as Nicky Borovic actually starting to close down the gap to these guys just ever so slightly. He's got it down to under 2 seconds when we were looking a couple of laps ago, and it was about 2.5. So Borovic doing a pretty good job in the 75 car. We haven't seen him race that often this season either.
Yeah, I have not seen that car very often, and I think right now, if I'm Rui Coimbra, I'm going to be very patient. Rui still has 0x. That's 3 bonus points. That's a huge advantage. So if they were to finish right now in the positions that they're in, he would win the championship easily, even with bonus points being factored in. So as they stand, for Josh Soto to win the championship, he would need to win the race, and Rui Coimbra would need to finish in 6th or lower.
And that is with the Mr. Clean bonus, correct?
That is correct.
So I'm just a little bit of question to clear up something for myself and maybe some of the viewers. Does the Mr. Clean bonus point, does it give 1 or 3 bonus points?
So if you finish with 0x, completely clean race, you get 3 bonus points. If you only pick up 1x or 2x for the entire race, you still get 1 bonus point. I'm fairly certain that Josh Soto we know for sure he's gotten 1 off track. I'm fairly certain that he may have picked up a car contact in one of those moves. So I'm going to say that he's already out of contention for that. It's impossible for us to say. The timing is unable to detect car contacts like that. So I'm just working purely on speculation when it comes to the Mr. Clean bonus.
Maybe indeed. So right now what Soto has to do is just hope Coimbra gets an off track somewhere along or just somewhere in the final, or just somewhere in the next 28 minutes of this race. He's going to need to have Rui Coimbra get an off track to better himself, but he's going to try hugging the inside of the carousel there. You don't see many guys doing that. He got a pretty decent run off, going to take the draft of Zach Burke down this back straightaway here. And Soto needs to just try and get all the laps that he can. I know we keep mentioning these bonus points, but they are so valuable for these championship contenders. Here comes Soto to the inside. He'll be on the outside for Canada corner. We'll see if he can hold on to this spot and maybe even take it. Looks like Zach Burke going to relent the spot and let him have it. So Soto doesn't make any major mistakes. He'll get this lap lead, which is another almost bonus point that he might be able to use. And actually, Nicky Borovic is about to get in drafting range of these guys, so he could expand it to a 5-car pack.
No surprise there. Every time you see these leaders fight, you're going to see Nicky Borovic inch his way a little bit closer, and he's pretty much within draft range now. So he's definitely going to be joining the back of that pack over this next lap.
Here's Ethan Stanley going side by side with Lee Martin up this front straightaway. It looked like, they're 3 wide now, as Sean Ruiz makes the move around the outside to try and take it away. And these guys are going to hope they don't lose the pack in front of them here, as they are quite a decent ways away from Scott Keane there. Looks like Stanley going to back out of it, but that's going to put him right in the crosshairs of Ray Lombardi. So there's the race for the open class lead as well. These two drivers are going to go at it once again, and it looks like Joshua Soto did lead that lap. We have to see if he can hold on to it to get another one.
I expect to see a lot of defense over this next lap. Right now, he's moving over to the right, like he's going to open up the inside, but I suspect as they come through the sweep, he's going to see him go over to the left if Zach Burke doesn't first. It looks like Zach Burke's just going to be content pushing him and going to wait till later in the lap, or maybe not try and move at all.
That was sketchy there. That was sketchy. We almost saw a Suzuka-type situation there with the death curbs in 130R. And Soto caused a wreck on the first lap of that race by hitting those curbs, so that definitely hurt him a lot in the points, which is the real reason why he's struggling entering this race in terms of points. So it's not going to be easy for him, and especially doing things like that, just putting that car under more stress than he needs to right now. But currently has a pretty decent gap opening between himself and Zach Burke. So Joshua Soto, he might get another lap lead here if he can just hit his marks.
It looks like he's got a pretty good run now. He's opened up the gap to Zach Burke quite a bit. It'll close back down after the kink as they approach Canada. But he was quite wide on the entry to turn 5, like you said, but he used it to his advantage. He was able to get a really good run through that corner, using every inch of the track, and he's gotten a small gap, about half of a second out of it.
Yeah, and that half a second gap is going to do him a big favor here if he can hold on to it. He lost a lot of time through Canada corner there. By the way, Nicky Borovic well within the gap of drafting range for these guys, so it's expanded to a 5-car pack for the lead here now. As it looks like if no major mistakes happen in the last corner, Joshua Soto going to get another lap lead here in the 135 car, which is just very big to his causes. Rui Coimbra still has yet to get a single lap led, so Soto currently beating him on that part of the bonus points. But the thing is, Rui Coimbra currently just hanging out with the Mr. Clean bonuses. It looks like pit stops getting underway as Otis Adams Jr., Scott Keane, Lee Martin, Jedediah Babinek, Ray Lombardi, Greg Mack, Ashley Lyle, all of those drivers heading into the pits.
And I thought for a second we had lost Zach Burke, and no, he was just hiding behind Josh Soto, pushing him up the front straightaway. So it looks like he's going to be content to run in second here for a bit, try to save some fuel maybe. And that's just music to Josh Soto's ears. He's going to get some more laps led. He's going to make it harder and harder for Rui to get that extra bonus point.
Yeah, and that's just what Soto has to do here. He has to try and farm the bonus points and just try and make Rui Coimbra finish as far back as possible here. I don't think there'll be any bump and runs for that spot, but certainly is a possibility here. He's Zach Burke going for the lead once more through the Moraine sweep and into turn number 3. It looks like Burke going to get that position. Camden Hibbett going forward as well, up the hill and under the Corvette bridge here into turn number 4. Looks like Soto going to maintain that spot, but really just this is the point where you got to be scared, because you know Soto and Hibbett aren't just going to let you have this. They're obviously going to race forward as well. They still have little mini points battles inside the top 10 for themselves. So what do you do here as Joshua Soto to try and maximize the amount of bonus points gained?
First and foremost, lead as many laps as you can. Keep attacking Zach Burke every time he gets in front of you. Keep pushing to try to get that position back at the end of the lap. I expect to see him make a move on the inside at Canada corner, or try to win a drag race down the front straightaway. And if that doesn't work, just keep Rui behind you. Yeah,
and that's what he has to do, is just keep Rui behind him. That's going to be the name of the game for Joshua Soto, is keep Rui behind him. You can see that pretty much everybody inside the top 14 is yet to come into the pit lane. Here's Ray Lombardi, the first open car out of the pit lane. He'll be racing with Ethan Stanley when he decides to come into the pit. So Randall, he made a little bit of a joke about this in Watkins Glen with a little mini segment called "You're Wrong, a Pit Call" or something along those lines. So if you want to try and make a guess about that now.
If I'm in Josh Soto's seat, I'm going to run that tank absolutely dry and give 0 chances to Rui Coimbra to lead a lap. As we see, looks like Rui's going to, oh, nope, he take a look, but Josh Soto stayed out, so he stayed out with him. So that might have actually been a bad move by Rui. He could have pulled in, had plenty of drafting partners, and then possibly led a lap while Josh Soto was in the pits, or while Josh Soto was taking his out lap.
Yep, and I mean, that's just what you got to do if you're in Joshua Soto's seat. You know that Rui was going to stay out for that lap lead, so Soto stays out with him to prevent him from doing so. And very smart move on Soto's part. The only problem is with Rui now being the only car that Soto has to fight here. How does he defend Rui Coimbra from leading a lap lead now, especially with the draft runs he'll get?
I think we're seeing the initial skirmishes of what's going to happen on the final laps. I think we'll see Soto go really defensive if Rui starts to look at all. Rui may be saving himself for after the stop, though, so he's also got to think about those bonus points. If he finishes right here, he's going to win the championship, so he doesn't really need to lead the laps. This is kind of icing on the cake for Rui right now.
You also have to think about the amount of fuel he saved. I'm hearing in my ear from Adam Thompson is Rui has been able to save a lot of fuel just riding in line behind these guys, but when it comes to Joshua Soto, he's been able to save next to none, as he's been out there leading all the laps he can. So Soto is probably going to have to pit a lot sooner than Coimbra can. The only issue with that is it is a 4-mile circuit, so I don't know if Rui has saved enough for an entire lap, but he very well could have with the draft properties of these cars, so that's one thing that Soto has to worry about, the limit of fuel. How far can he push it to stay ahead of the 78 car?
And I don't think that the 78 is going to be able to get an extra lap further than Soto just on fuel alone. If he does, it's because Soto came in a lap early. But I think what it's going to play out as is that Rui's just going to have to put a lot less fuel into that car. His pit stop time is going to be much shorter than Soto's. So he's going to be able to probably jump him through the pits unless Soto underfuels with the hope of saving fuel later in the race.
Yeah, that's just the name of the game for Coimbra right now. Is just think about the fuel strategy, especially if Coimbra has saved a lot of fuel here. I would reckon, honestly, I'm not sure what might happen here for these guys. Is if Soto pits, he knows Coimbra's probably going to stay out, but he's got to pit eventually. It looks like they're both going to head into the pits this lap. The question is, no, Coimbra barely stays out. That's going to give Coimbra a lap lead, which gives him another bonus point. And great move from Coimbra to fake Soto into the pits. That just made Joshua Soto's job a heck of a lot harder.
It made it much harder indeed. Now Josh Soto has to win the race, and Rui Coimbra would have to finish in 6th or 7th or lower with the bonus points. Because right as it stands now, Rui Coimbra has 4 bonus points unless he picks up an off track. And Josh Soto currently has 2. So Rui would have to finish in 7th or worse. Now, if Josh finishes in 2nd, Rui would have to finish in 8th. So Soto is at Coimbra's mercy now. So Coimbra just needs to click off some good laps, keep it clean, keep it on track, stay in that top 5, and he's guaranteed to win the championship.
The only question is, what happens if Rui gets it off track? He's not going to get that Mr. Clean bonus. He's not going to get a free 3 points for himself. And if that happens, how does that shake up the points? Where does Rui have to finish for Soto to win the championship then, if you have that calculated?
5th or lower if Josh Soto wins the race.
And Coimbra doesn't get the Mr. Clean bonus.
That's right.
So, I don't know. I mean, it looks like, I don't want to make any assumptions, but Coimbra pretty much has this one locked up if he just doesn't make any mistakes, which we know that the driver of the 78 car, we know he's prone to not make any mistakes. But I'm hearing, I heard a little comment from our producer in my ear, and I realized that as I said it, yeah, I might have just set up the biggest commentator's curse of my career.
So Alex, Randall was part of the 4-hour race that we did a few weeks ago for WSRL, and the commentator's curses there were real. So I really hope that you just haven't done the same thing, Alex, to Rui, but I guess we're gonna have to find out.
If I do, Adam, if Rui ends up spinning or something like that, I might honestly just shut off my PC and let y'all finish it out. I'm just gonna say, I'm out. I'll see y'all later. But I hope it doesn't happen. And now we have to see if Coimbra decides to come into the pits this lap. I reckon he will satisfied with 1 bonus point. Yes, he does. Now we have to see where the rest of the field cycles out. Soto is still right with Zach Burke and Camden Hibbett here. So now we have to see where they end up. They're heading down the back straightaway towards Canada corner right now. We have to see if Andrew Kostic stays out as well, because that could cost an opportunity for Soto to get a lap. It looks like Soto just got around Hibbett according to the timing tower, but Hibbett took it right back from him. It looks like they're probably side by side at the moment. It looks like Soto getting an advantage there. It looks like he'll take that spot according to the times. Those guys heading into the last corner now. Coimbra gets another lap led through the pits. We have to see where the other drivers end up, though. Coimbra going to take left side tires. You see the car up on the jacks, just trying to get as much fuel in it as he needs to finish the race. Here are the leaders as they head down the front straight. Coimbra's already out of the pits and heading towards the cone. He doesn't need the limiter anymore. You see the leaders behind him. I think Coimbra might have just gotten the gap probably to over 4 seconds. Yes, he has. That is incredible.
That is really something. That just shows how much fuel Rui Coimbra was saving that entire time. We saw him get up to 6th then eventually 5th, and then he was sitting in 4th. He was not aggressive at all. He was saving fuel the entire time, and he's parlayed it into a 4-second lead. Now, the 3 cars behind him can work together and catch up to him. We'll see if that gap dwindles, and we see another 3-car pack closing in on P4. So this could become a 7-car battle for the lead, and Rui Coimbra now has the red carpet rolled out to lead more laps. So he could take away the most laps led bonus from Josh Soto. But it almost doesn't matter what the bonus points are at this point. If he finishes in the top 5, he wins the championship.
The only issue with that, Randall, is the commentator's curse is real. All right, I'm petrified over here that I might have, by my own doing, cost Coimbra his championship at the moment. So I'm struggling over here right now. But Soto just has to just pray for a miracle now. Is really, unless Coimbra makes some major mistake, he's got it locked up.
And we see these 3 drivers back here. I believe they've all pit, so it's very close. They certainly all pit. How many of these guys have been able to make up some track position through the pit strategy? But commentators curse or not, Coimbra's really got this race in his own hands. It's his to lose. So unless the curse caused a glitch in his fuel calculator and he put in too little fuel, he's got a lot of margin for error. As we see Josh Soto take over P2 from Zach Burke once again in Canada corner.
See, and that's what scares me right there. I mean, you might have just done it too. I mean, you called it like Coimbra needs to.
Don't you put that evil on me, Alex?
Hey! You said it when you were talking there. The evil's on both of us now. If it happens, it's probably my fault. All right, but if it happens, it's on us. All right. Coimbra, however, has 13 minutes left to hold on, and he'll be champion at the end of the day.
And that's 3 laps led for Coimbra. I'm not sure how many Josh Soto has been able to lead. I want to say 5, possibly 6.
Yeah, we can't check that right now, but I mean, just you gotta wonder what can really, because I reckon. I mean, we know the way this series runs. You got to expect the unexpected for this series. So everything that can go wrong for any driver fighting for a championship right now, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I mean, it's already happened to Sean Hayes, as Ray Lombardi is currently sweeping that right now by a decent margin. He's got Stanley in front of him, so he's not going to win the race at the moment. But Ray Lombardi currently in a really good shot for the Open Class Championship, if I am not mistaken, with no off tracks as well. So that's a lot of bonus points for Ray Lombardi as well. Same thing for Coimbra up there for the Pro Class Championship. No incidents at the moment, and if he just keeps it clean, no incidents at all, he'll have an easy win just right in his lap with 3 extra bonus points just as a cherry on top.
And we see 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are not working together. They are fighting. Josh Soto is trying to get to the front of that pack and lead them to catch up to Coimbra. And they are fighting for positions almost every braking zone. And that gap has opened up to nearly 4.5 seconds now.
Yeah, and that's a very big gap, even with these cars where drafting can be oh so important. And you see the sectors here. Burke got him in the first one, but Coimbra has extended that gap and done more there through sectors 2 and 3. We'll see what the time is through sector 4. There's Coimbra's time of 41.7. We'll have to see what Burke does across the timing line. Going to be a 41.8 for him, about a 10th off as they head across the timing line. So Rui Coimbra just hitting his marks, setting down some really nice lap times and just keeping himself clean and green to the end of the race.
I don't know if Coimbra has a spotter that works with him or not, but if he does, and if I were that spotter, I would be removing my push to talk button. There's no way I'm talking to him right now. I'm just leaving him to his race. If I'm Coimbra, I'm turning off the mirrors. I don't want to know anything that's going on behind me. I'm just trying to stay in the zone, hit my marks, and run a clean race and bring home the groceries.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I mean that's That's just the main thing right now, is bringing home those groceries for Rui Coimbra. He just has to just keep that car consistent, run essentially quali laps for about 10 minutes now just to win himself the championship. Somebody just went way off track there. You see the dust in the air. That might have been Jedediah Babinek or maybe Otis Adams as they headed into turn number 1. There they go onto the brakes. This is for, I believe, 5th place right here. Looks like Otis just overcooks the corner a little bit, gets it onto the grass. Has a pretty nice save, though. There's a bit of an overreaction from Jedediah Babinek, thinking he was going to maybe spin out. But Otis Adams Jr. keeps it on track. You'll see the reaction from Jedediah Babinek here as they head through turn number 1. See Otis get off track up there, and Babinek, oh no, it looked like he got off track as well, and Jedediah Babinek had to swing it to the right and then right back to the left to save it. It's a very impressive driving to keep those cars under control back there for the most part. And this second pack, they aren't doing what they need to right now. I mean, Camden Hibbett and Zach Burke are doing what they need to, but Joshua Soto just can't do anything right now. They've closed the gap a little bit to Rui Coimbra, but still a long shot if Soto wants to get back up there.
Soto's definitely the faster of these 3 drivers. If Hibbett and Burke have a little bit of sense, they will let Soto lead them for at least another 5 minutes and let him try to pull them up to Coimbra. If Coimbra did underfuel by any chance, he has a pretty good cushion to do some fuel saving, and we've seen that he's very good at that. So I don't think fuel will be an issue for Coimbra unless Soto closes that gap really quickly.
And closing that gap quickly is going to be the issue. With only about 8 minutes remaining in this race for Soto to close that gap, I just don't think he has enough time to do it behind the wheel of the 135 car. See how close Hibbett was to Zach Burke right there. And then another battle we can focus on back here. Ray Lombardi essentially has the championship for the open class locked up right now unless something happens to him, but I don't believe anything will happen right now. Here's the championship standings. I believe this is without bonus points, but right now Ray Lombardi has made up those 5 points he has lost and more for himself and Sean Hayes after the incident Hayes was involved in the opening laps of the race. So Ray Lombardi in a really good spot right now, and he's only fighting one other open driver for the win of this race, and I reckon with where he is right now in the standings, he's probably not going to fight Stanley too hard.
I wouldn't be interested in fighting at all. Maybe the last lap try to go for a move if one presents itself. But he's going to be pretty happy where he's at now. This will be his last. If he does bring home the championship, this will be his last race in the blue. This league has a rule that once you win the Open Championship, you get promoted to the Pro Class. So this could be the last time we see the 112 with a blue panel next to it.
Yeah. Well, what an upgrade that would be for Ray Lombardi. We know how fast he is, definitely deserving of that red banner for the pro title. And another driver that I think could possibly get that red banner if he commits to running all the races next season is this man right here, Ethan Stanley. We've seen his speed at pretty much every track that these guys go to, and I think if he can keep that up for next season, he could very well win the championship and convert his banner to red as well.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Mr. Lombardi here, but Sean Hayes is up to 20th position, only 7 spots behind. So, if Sean's able to get that to be only 5 spots, he could win this championship still. He's not out of this yet. So, if you see Sean Hayes starting to make moves and you're in Ray Lombardi's seat, you need to start making moves.
The only thing with that is he's got a 4-second, almost under 4 seconds there to Andrew Kosick. And with only 6 minutes left in this race, do you think he can make up that gap? And then catching up to Kosick is one thing, but he'll have to catch up to Kosick, pass him, and pass Josh Olson. And I know in a lot of different racing series throughout the world, whether virtual or in real life, we've seen what drivers will do to make it happen. Do you think Sean Hayes might do the same thing if he can close that gap? He's already got it down by about 4/10 there.
Closing the gap's going to be very difficult, and if he does, we may see some bonsai moves out of him. I doubt it, though, knowing how Sean Hayes operates. He's a pretty clean driver. He's not going to go for a dirty win like that, even for a championship. But if there is another incident ahead of them that causes a couple drivers to have to tow or to lose a lot of spots, that could hand it to him. So the other thing Ray Lombardi has going for him is he's currently appears to be running on 0x. That'll get him 3 points. That opens up that cushion a little bit more and makes Sean Hayes have to work a little bit harder. But still, if you see Sean Hayes starting to make moves, you got to think, maybe it's time I start making moves.
Well, now he's already gotten the gap to Josh Olson down to 1.8 seconds. He's improved over 2 seconds in just pretty much half a lap there. So Sean Hayes, I mean, he's down. He's most certainly down, but I would say he is not out of this just yet.
It's not over until it's over.
And well, that can probably be applied to Joshua Soto's story right now. I mean, it's a long shot for sure, but he's still sort of in it there in the 135 car. He's just got to pray on the downfall of Rui Coimbra. Maybe hope that Rui runs out of fuel or something of the sorts. But currently Soto, just like Hayes, he's down, but not out, with only about 4 minutes remaining in this race. So we may only get about 2 laps left in this race, and that's not a lot of time at all.
If we get a good look at Josh Soto, we may see him with a cell phone in the car, calling the internet service provider for Rui Coimbra, trying to get a disconnect order put in. That's about the only chance he has right now to win the championship. But you see, he's still on it. He is still pushing until the very end.
Yeah, and it looks like we will get about 2 laps to go when we head to the line. And I don't know, Soto and Hayes, they're both running out of time, but Hayes actually has caught up to Josh Olson now, is right on his back bumper, in fact. Here he is as these guys head through the carousel. Sean Hayes riding the back bumper of Josh Olson, and actually Ray Lombardi just got around Ethan Stanley for the open class lead as well. So battles all over the place. Here's the fight for this spot. And it looks like Ray Lombardi going to hold on to this for now. Wait, no! Look at Rui Coimbra. He's in the pits! He's in the pits!
Championship implications. He underfueled.
No.
Heartbreak. Josh
way.
Soto, now in the catbird seat, takes over the lead, leads the lap, and now just has to make sure that he finishes this race clean and doesn't end up in an incident as well.
Randall, we did the curse.
Is there a mouse in your pocket, Alex?
I just checked. No, there isn't.
It must be the royal we. As we see, Zach Burke is in the lead now in front of Josh Soto going down the back.
Oh, why did I say something? Oh my, wow. That is not something I would have ever expected. Rui Coimbra, I'm looking for him on the timing tower. There, he's in 16th. He has no shot. All Soto needs to do now is finish the race. That's all he has to do. And actually, Stanley just got the open class lead back from Ray Lombardi, and all Soto has to do is finish the race.
We have Ronnie Coates back in 12th. So if there is an incident up front, we could see the return of Ronnie Coates.
I wouldn't be shocked if that happened, honestly, but here he is right behind the battle for the open class here, currently just hanging out in 12th. Pretty good comeback for him, as he was pretty much in dead last, and he's brought it back up quite a bit, still down 9 spots from where he started, but I am absolutely speechless. I think we will be taking the white flag this time by, so we'll have to keep an eye on these battles. Or, excuse me, Adam, what was that? If you could repeat that in my ear one last time. So, actually, this is the last lap. I just realized that. So this is the battle for the win here. If Zach Burke can go for it, he'll go to the outside in Canada corner. We'll see if he can try and get around Joshua Soto on the outside. Soto's going to just want this win just to be sure he can get the championship here. And they're going to maintain side by side, still very close to each other through the penultimate corner. It looks like Burke forcing Joshua Soto wide. and it looks like Burke gonna maintain this lead unless Soto pulls off some crazy move down the final straight. Camden Hibbett not gonna help him, and it looks like up the hill, if neither of these two can pull away from each other and side by side, Zach Burke is going to come across the line to win the last race of the Spec-5 World Tour season. But the more important story, Joshua Soto is champion of the Spec-5 World Tour.
Hold on one second there,
season.
Alex. Hold on one second there, Alex.
That's true. Not yet. Ray Lombardi gets the win in the open class, pretty much confirming his space. Stanley just ever so slightly behind him in second. Here's Rui Coimbra. Heartbreak back here in P16. We do still have to add up the points, so excuse my my cry there, or my yell for Soto there. It's not official just yet. We have to wait for the points.
So now that Soto is finished in third place with the drop weeks, I believe that we now have a dual champion, Josh Soto and Ronnie Coates.
No way.
I confirmed with the league admins before this race, they do not have a tie-breaking procedure. It will be a dual championship. Honestly, it blows my mind that Josh Soto ended up finishing third there. I thought it was first or second for sure. I didn't even consider him finishing third. With the drop weeks, it very much looks like by the permutations that I have, that is possibly a tie with Ronnie Coates. Now, we have to look at bonus points.
Oh, so we haven't added up the bonus points yet.
I believe that will put Josh Soto into the championship seat based on bonus points alone. But we will wait for the official word from the league.
And what about Ray Lombardi here? Is Ray Lombardi pretty much secured his championship?
So Ray Lombardi did pick up 1X in that fight with Ethan Stanley. So that gave away his 3 bonus points, but he's still likely to get 1 bonus point for that. Sean Hayes is not going to get any bonus points, and he finished 8 positions ahead of Sean Hayes. So just based on that alone, Ray Lombardi should be your open class champion.
I want to take a look back at the finish between for the open class when there was really close. If you look at the gap, and Ryan Zabelski's front bumper there's having a bit of a disco party there as he heads down the front straight. Look at it going. Look at it. It's going. It's moving as he heads across the line to finish his race for the last race of the season. We'll show you the results, then we'll go back to the replay for the open class win. But Zach Burke wins the race. Camden Hibbett right behind him in second. Joshua Soto, I can't believe I'm saying this, could be champion, but he might be tied with Ronnie Coates. We'll have to wait for word from the admin. Scott Keane there in fourth. Otis Adams Jr. in fifth. David Staub in sixth. Nicky Borovic in seventh. Lee Martin in eighth. Michael Coates in ninth. Ray Lombardi in 10th. Ethan Stanley there in 11th. Ray Lombardi and Ethan Stanley there in pretty much a photo finish for the win of the open class. And more importantly, Ray Lombardi should be your open class champion for this season. Ronnie Coates there in P12, Sean Ruiz in 13th, Jose Gonzalez in 14th, Jedediah Babinek in 15th, Rui Coimbra in 16th. Just heartbreak for him. I can't even begin to describe probably the amount of heartbreak he's feeling right now. That just sucks.
After all the races we've seen this season out of this group, to have it come down to survival like that is very uncharacteristic. But yeah, Josh Soto is the one that survived. So much like the Survivor Series over in the wrestling world, whoever lasts the longest wins.
Most certainly. Andrew Kosick there in 17th, Sean Hayes in 18th, Josh Olson in 19th, Edgar Sancinelli in 20th, Bruce Silva in 21st, Ashley Lyle in 22nd, John Casey in 23rd, Paulo Coimbra in 24th, Brian Zabelski in 25th, Greg Mack in 26th, Zach Gadberry in 27th, Kenneth Staub in 28th, Eugenio Polici in 29th, Mitchell Peak in 30th, and Greg Brockway rounds out your 31 car field in 31st. And we'll see if we can get the replay here for the finish between the open class. Here it is. These guys are heading into Canada corner right now.
We see they go side by side. So Ethan Stanley has the inside, which is going to give him the advantage in the corner. But like Ray Lombardi still had a nose ahead and is able to possibly get clear. Yes, he gets clear running through Thunder Valley, 13A. Here, got the lead going into the last corner. It looks like it's probably going to be a drag race. Who gets the better run out of the final corner? Ethan Stanley going to have a bit of an advantage. He gets a really good run here, actually. It's all the way to the bumper before they even get all the way through the corner, and has an incredible run. Now, Lombardi has the benefit of the draft in the cars in front of him and is just going to eke him out at the line by about 1/10 of a second.
Very impressive. I think it was even closer than that, maybe 0.03 of a second. As we rewind to see where they were at across the line. Here it is, slow-mo. You can see Ray Lombardi just ever so slightly nudging him out at the line. Well, Randall, for the last time this season... Oh, geez.
Sorry, that was 4/100ths of a second of gap between those two cars at the line.
That's just absolutely incredible there. And so, I mean, just Randall, for the last time this season, what do you say we get some post-race interviews? And for my Randall, who have you managed to find for an interview here tonight?
It looks like I have the Open Class winner and provisionally the Open Class champion, Ray Lombardi. Ray, tell me what went through your head when you saw Sean Hayes spin out in front of you.
Well, I have to be honest. I didn't see him actually spin because there was so much going on, and I was looking at the at the standings, at the results. I couldn't find him. Like, did he spin out? Did he spin out? So for a couple of laps, I was actually, I was just a bit confused. Like, where did he go? And then eventually, I saw him that he hadn't pitted yet when I pit. So I figured, like, all right, I'm ahead. But I don't want to win in a way that other guy spins out. That's not really fun. But on the other hand, I am very happy to have won.
So you rallied to close. He had a massive gap over you going into Watkins Glen. You close it down and overtake him in the last race with 3 consecutive wins in the Open Division. How does that feel?
Yeah, I would never expect this, man. Especially the start of the season. This is my first season with these guys. I started at 2,000 I rating when I started. These guys made me so much better. They taught me so much. I went up 1,500 I rating during this period, and I'm just really happy to have been with these guys and being able to get this much better, because I've seen the other guys race. I saw Sean Hayes race, saw Josh Olsen race last year. Like, I'm never going to beat these guys, and apparently I was able to, so I'm just super happy.
So on the final few laps, we saw you battling there with Ethan.
Yeah.
Tell us about that drag race to the line. Did you think he was going to get you?
The drag race, well, I saw his last corner wasn't too good. So I figured, I'm going to just try it on the right side. I've seen this in regular races often. It does get very close, and well, luckily I did get it. But honestly, the last couple laps, I was just trying to make sure that I didn't crash, because I was just I was scared to death that I was going to crash or make a mistake in the last couple of laps. So when I was actually battling with him in the laps before that, I didn't really want to battle him, but because he made a few mistakes, I had to. I was just getting more nervous battling him, so I was like, I'll just finish. But eventually it turned out well. I actually won the race, so it makes it shine a little bit more.
So how do you feel about the color red, since next season there will be a red panel next to your name on the timing tower instead of a blue? I
was thinking I think I just turned pro. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Like, I saw in the total standings, I think I'm top 10, so I think I can battle with them, but I'm not going to be in front anymore. So that's going to be a little bit of a shift in mindset, I guess. But I think I can at least compete with these guys, with a bunch of them. I've been out qualifying a number of them for a while. It's just my racecraft has to be a little bit better, I suppose. I've been learning a lot in that respect in this league, but I know I have a lot more to learn there. So hopefully next season I will be able to, well, not perfect that, but at least make that skill a little bit better and be able to actually race with these guys.
All right. So for your final and third win of the season and your championship win, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Well, everybody's. I keep saying it. Everybody's who's involved with this, man. It's a great league. It's one of the most fun things I've ever seen in gaming and or racing. However you see it, you guys do a spectacular job with the broadcast. I love trying to contribute with that. I just love being a part of this. So I'm super happy. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to Sean Hayes for a great season. He did really well. Mitchell Peak, he helped me a lot. Jordy Fike, also everybody involved. Greg, just thanks a lot.
Ray, Randall, I hope I'm not about to cut you off here, but Ray, I just want to give you a big shout out as well for all the help that you've given me, and making that video for Spec-5 and putting the time in really shows how much you care about this league, and really helps the broadcast out as well. And the cheat sheets that you have done for the races and things that you've done just to get us to get slow motion broadcasting and Spec-5 to this point is really awesome, man. So thank you so much for all the help you've done, and congratulations on your championship win.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm happy to help. I really love doing it. And I'm a little bit of a stats nerd, as you might have noticed. I like, making everything known to everybody, give everybody information. I'm really happy that you appreciate that. So
hey, man, I've been trying. I remember those messages, and you wanted more stats pulled up. I made sure to get the pit lane times pulled up. I even pulled up incidents for this race, Ray. So we'll see how you like this one, but. Man, you got to
the
lay off
were
me
really
a little bit.
In this race, right?
They're extremely important. They really are. But anyways, Ray, thank you so much for all your help, and I look forward to continuing the well, I guess whatever you call it, continuing the relationship.
Cooperation.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Thanks, guys. It's been really fun.
That was Ray Lombardi, your open class winner and champion. And before we go on to our next interview, I want to say that the permutations that I was going through for the race, they were actually provided to us by Ray. So he actually helped out our call of this race a lot better, or a lot more than we would normally have. So an extra shout out to Ray for that. And Alex, I believe you have our overall champion. I believe he's going to be the champion since he's in the interview waiting room.
Yes, I do believe so. Joshua Soto, you are the unofficial pro class champion. How does it feel?
Oh man, it's it feels pretty good. Well, as we wait for the results, yeah, I mean, really tough season. Had a lot of tough moments during the season, but I mean, just being able to get to the end of this race and finish on a podium felt pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I have to get your thoughts on this. I mean, what was it like? I mean, obviously, probably started losing all hope during the final half of that race, but what was just the feeling of when you see Rui Coimbra in front of you heading into the pits, realizing he can't make it?
Oh man, I was so confused. I was really confused because I seen him saving fuel, so I was thinking he had a more than enough, because yeah, he was just saving fuel like the first half. But when I seen him going to the pits, yeah, it was just really a confusing moment. But yeah, it all worked out.
I can hear the smile on your face right now. I can hear it. Just, oh, yeah. I'm absolutely speechless. Hey, you know what? My fantasy for this league was going pretty well. I predicted you to just win the championship, so congrats on that. You made me a little bit happy over here for my, not really fantasy standings, but my predictions. So just congrats on the win. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's involved. Like, everybody does a great job. Especially when I think you guys you guys do a great job with the broadcast and the live streams, and also to my competitors. They're really great competition. Everybody's very respectful and everything, all that. So it's really fun to be around like-minded racers.
Most certainly. Well, I believe that's all I have for you. I'm gonna let you go unless Adam or Randall have something for you. But other than that, congrats on the unofficial championship tonight. You really just amazing season from you all season long. So just congrats on it, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you more in season 11.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was Joshua Soto, your unofficial pro class champion. Just before we round off the stream, just final thoughts, first, before we go to that, I'm going to take a moment to mention one of our sponsors, TPC Motorsports, which is a 4-year-old racing team based in Birmingham, Alabama, that currently races a Caterham 7 420R in the HSR series and a BMW Spec-5 E46. So big shout out to them for supporting the Spec-5 World Tour. Cheers to hoping they'll support them for season 11 so we can just continue to do the job that we love to do every day in the booth for the next season. But Randall, I mean, what an absolute... I'm speechless with that race.
It just goes to show, never give up, never surrender. Joshua Soto was on the button the entire race, and it ended up working out for him.
I know you guys try to keep me down here in the production booth, but every now and then I find my way up in there to the commentary side of things. Just want to give you a big shout out, Alex, for taking away my... Well, I don't even know my reputation for commentators cursing people. So thank you very much,
problem.
Alex, for doing that.
Randall, I thought we unplugged his microphone.
I have squirt bottles empty. I can't even spray them.
Oh, well, I do appreciate that. You know what? I'll proudly take over that title of the official commentators cursor of SMB. I appreciate that. But for the last time this season, that is going to do it for us. Real quick, before we round off the upcoming streams, at 9 a.m. EST this Sunday, the WSRL Endurance Series returns for their second race of the season with the LMP2, GT3, and GT4 class cars at Silverstone. Next Tuesday, WSRL returns once more at 8:50 p.m. EST with the LMP2 and GT3 cars at Phillip Island. Then also, at pretty much that same time at 9:05 p.m. EST, the SBO Network's American Muscle Series returns once more for, I believe, their final race of the season at Road Atlanta in those Ford Mustang FR500s. So those cars always put on a show, and for the final race of the season, you're going to want to tune in for that one. Then next Thursday, pretty much alongside this stream, the WSRL IndyCar Road Series brings us their third race of the season, I believe, with the Dallara IR18 Indy cars at Watkins Glen International. But that is going to do it for us for the last time this season. My name is Alex Andersen. I have been joined in the commentary booth by Randall McGrew with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck, who, Randall, next time we need to make sure his mic is unplugged. But for the last time in Season 10 of the Spec-5 World Tour from Road America, have a good night.